We're going to do drawing 4, a 45-degree lateral branch on center. So we're going to have, they call it a main header, just your main body, and then the branch coming up. On page 9 here in the block J, it shows you step by step all the way through how to do this, with all the numbering and all the connection of the parallel lines and the laying out of the pattern. I'm going to try to do something a little bit different with this one, but it's got a layout there for that, so you can follow that. Also, these dimensions here on page 28, just number 4, and we're going to use these dimensions here, so these are all going to be good. We're going to use the 120, the 10, make sure it's on center here, the 100 comes off center all the way up to center on a 45, and we got the 50 over there, and the 80 over here. I'm going to come up 70, we'll do a little half moon on the top of each one of these so we can get our element lines. So I've gone ahead and laid out a little bit here already, just to save a little bit of time. So for our baseline here, we're going to come up 30 millimeters. Okay, just because we're going to do a whole pattern right here. And we've just shifted over just a little bit, just to get it a little bit more in the middle of the page. So we've come 30 millimeters over from the edge of the page to the edge of the object, 30 mils. And we've gone 50 mils here just to get it away from the front view here a little bit, because we're going to do a pattern coming up here on an angle instead of straight across. Double check, make sure all your dimensions are correct. Where does your 100 come from? Comes from there. And then also just go around and just double check just to make sure all your dimensions are correct. The height of this one actually really doesn't matter. You can put it at 70, or really it doesn't matter because we're not going to use any heights here. We're only going to use where the element lines hit this cylinder and then come over. Okay, so once you've done that, we can do some numbering here as well. I'm just going to number it the same as what was in the book. I'm going to start with 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then as you spin that over, same with the last one that we've done. 4, 3, 2, 1, and 7's up there. And the 6, 5, 4 down here. And those will just share over here with the whole pattern. Okay, so we need to figure out what these element line lengths are. So then we can do this pattern first, and then we'll do the whole pattern after. Okay. So the first thing I think we'll do is we'll just bring these lines over. Let's go ahead, square those down. Just till it hits the cylinder, and I really don't need to do the other side because they're exactly the same. So really I could have just done a half view for this one. But obviously the 2 and the 6 share, and the 3 and the 5 are the same. Let's go ahead and bring those over. So the 4 here obviously is going to hit the 4 there, so that's as far as I need to bring that. I don't need to bring that any further. The 3 and the 5, I'm going to have to make sure I'm at least past there. The 3. And sometimes these lines can get a little close together. Looking at the 2 and the 6. Okay, we'll bring these down on a 45 on the other side, and we'll connect these. And we'll get our true lengths for this. Let's bring 6 down to 6. And 6 and 2 are the same, so it'll be this top one. And then the 5, and the 5 and the 3. You can kind of see where those are. With these numbers and these lines that we're doing, a lot of times you can tell that it's over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1, all the way through. So that's just another way to do this little graph pattern that we're doing. Down to there. Not a lot of lines. These get a little bit more complicated as we move on into the other levels, but okay, so these are true distances here. You can put a little dot there if you like to be able to tell what those are. So we're going to put a pattern coming up here. So again, with this pattern, this is a 50, so we've done this before. So the 50 millimeters times pi equals 157. So we need 157 coming up here. And so we're going to go right to the top of the page. We're going to go 157 on this one. 7. There we go. Mark your 0. And then again, we're going to need to divide this out into even spaces here, so it's just easier to bring this line down. Yeah, it's 157. I think we're going to have to go with that 180 again, and we did on the last drawing. It's going to bring this one down a little bit further because we're going to require that. So what I'm trying to do here is from this 157 here, I'm just going to go 180 from this location here, and then 12 spaces divided by the 15 is 180. And we're just doing the sloping line method for division here. Okay. So let's go ahead and we'll just go 15, 30, 45, 60, and every 15 mil from there. There we go. Try not to draw over top of the other drawing. And I'm going to bring these up to this baseline here. We're going to use this as our baseline. Hopefully this doesn't draw over top of our other drawing. That's why I was trying to keep it away there a little bit. And that happens. The hardest thing that we do here is trying to fit things onto a piece of paper. Or you're laying out on metal and you just run out of room. That's the hard part for layout. Is you're trying to check all your lengths, trying to make sure you have enough room to fit everything. And by most part, when you're laying out, you're generally trying to keep everything tight to the bottom or tight to the one side, just to utilize the amount of space that's available. And sometimes we just end up having to redraw or relay out because we did not allow ourselves enough room, which is obviously time consuming and can sometimes cause you another half an hour to an hour. This hand layout is obviously very time consuming versus computer software. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring this up. So we always do the short seam. So I know this is number 7 here. Number 7 is here, but we're going to share this as number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're going down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so now we're just going to take these points and bring them up, and we're going to use our 45 for this one. This is just a lot faster doing it like this off on the angle versus trying to take all these and just transpose them over there straight. So it was just anytime you can use your rulers and straight edges like this, it's generally a little bit faster. Okay, number 2 here, line it up here. Mark your 2. Mark your 2. And again, these are true lengths that we're doing coming off of here. There, 4 is probably one of the, no, 5, it looks a little longer. We always do the short one again just to minimize that seam length. This is 5 here. And then 6 and 7. This is where it gets a little close there. Just the difference between 7 should technically be a little bit shorter. Just because it's coming up on top. Again, this is a game of measuring of millimeters, so it gets a pretty fine measurements. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll snake this in. Always tough to do. Takes a lot of fingers. That's going to be a tough one. It's hard for me to see down in there. Okay, a little bit off on that one, but not too bad. Okay, so that is the pattern here for this branch. And then we're going to go ahead and do the hole pattern. So let's do the hole pattern here, and then we'll mark everything up and identify. Okay, so these are the element lines that hit these element lines coming over. So we're going to drop all these down. We're going to do the hole pattern right here. So everywhere there's one of these dots or this intersection, we're going to bring this down. And the hole pattern is going to be similar to the last one we've done. The last drawing, except for this one here is not going to be symmetrical because it's on a 45. Again, just come off these dots here. Okay, so if you were to take this and wrap that on there, it would spin and be over here on this side here. Okay, so this center line here really comes up to the center here and then through. Okay, so the same as last time, we need to measure over to here, here, and here, and that's what's going to measure up. We're going to use this as a center line here, so this baseline is also going to be a center line, and we're going to use this as a center line as well. Okay, and again, the more flexible your ruler, the easier it's going to be. Again, it's going to be similar to the last one that we've done, 26 to 27. almost going to say 27. I know last time we said 26. I think we said 22 on the last one. That's pretty close to 22. And I think we said 12 if I remember. A little closer to 13, I think. So anyway, we'll go with those numbers. It's going to be within a millimeter here. And with these ones here, these are the distance that it's wrapping this way, so coming off this way. So number 4 here and 4 here, off of center, we need to come off 27. 6, 7. And we're going to do a mark right here. So number 4, same with the other side. We're going to go 27. Okay. Number 5 here, 5 and 3 are going to be the same, which are going to be 22. So 5, we're going to go 22 on both sides. And we're going to do the 22 for the 3 here as well. You can see this distance is a little further away, so it's, I guess, again, like I said, this is not going to be a symmetrical hole. And then where are you going to use the 13 over here? So for 2 and 6. And just measuring off a center here. And this other side is going to be a tough one. Just for trying to snake that in. There we go. And then obviously the end here is the 4 at the end, or the 7 at the end. Okay, so let's, that doesn't fit too bad there. Want the other side. There we go, that looks pretty close. Again, this is always the fight here. Trying to fair that line in. And same with the end here. This is going to be really tough here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get my snake that tight. That's going to be a tough one. There we go. And then we'll try to fair these out or connect these here. It's always part of our job too to fair in that line as much as we can. Always cut something a little big so you can always trim it off, especially if you have a double line or something like that. Go to the bigger side. Okay, one side looks a little better than the other side, but still not too bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to mark this up. So your name, you're going to put that on here. And again, we're going to treat this as if you're in the shop and this was cut out and this is a pattern that's in your shop. So you're going to put your name, your date, and let's see, 45-degree lateral branch. And we're drawing number 4. It's a full pattern. And let's go ahead and we'll mark our center line. Here's our center line. Let's go ahead and put our quarter marks on. Same with our ends. Let's put our shear lines so we know where to shear. So we're not shearing off our center line, which happens. There we go there. That's pretty good for that. And then down over here for this one, let's just make sure these center lines are on here. Now let's put our little dots in here for quarter marks. And we'll just write whole pattern here on this one. It'll be a full pattern. Okay, and then once that's done, you can take the template that's available up on the D2L. You can download that and print that and check to see how that pattern is right there. Okay, so that looks pretty close. And again, you can check this pattern right here. Okay, so that's how those ones fit. And then just making sure your shape is good, and yeah, it's difficult to measure within the millimeter, but we try to get as accurate as possible. Okay, that's drawing 4. Thank you.